Hello, everybody. Greg here with KillerReviews.com. As you can see, this is my living room, and I have some different things going on. My apartment has been moved around a little bit. I actually have a couch. That's my board game collection in the corner there. So this is my third time attempting this video. I just got 12 minutes in, almost done. And then my daughter, the wonderful Bryn, walked into the background of the shot naked. So I had to start over again. And the other video had a real long, friendly intro about why I'm making a board game. But I'm tired and grumpy, and we're not doing that portion of the video anymore. I'm so mad I have to redo this. So, I'm making a board game, and I need to record this video and put it up on YouTube as a way of copywriting my idea. Because the board game is in early development. I've spent about 50 hours on it, actually, believe it or not, in the past week. Like 4 days, 50 hours. Yeah, I'm getting up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to work on the game. Let alone like my regular work I have to do every day. So one of the main reasons I'm doing this is I'm going online and starting to like talk about my game and asking for ideas on how to fix certain mechanics problems towards my game. So like I want to be able to freely talk about my game, and I'm also looking for artists for the game. And to do that, I have to I basically made a wiki for my game. It's also my son's game too, by the way. My son Gage is helping out a lot with the ideas of the game. He had great ideas for this game. So like the game is kind of getting out there on some forums, and I made a wiki for the game for my use, but also for people if if an artist wants to get involved, they can read about the game. So I want to record this video as a public record of the story and the idea and the game mechanics. So if anybody tries to steal the game, we have this video published on YouTube and dated. Let me tell you about the game. Where's my notes here? So I'm going to go to the wiki and just read it.
One part about it is that it's really confusing.
It's not confusing. Okay, here's the game is called Curse of Sadness. That's the name for right now. We could change, of course. Curse of Sadness is about a group of young misfits that crash land on a planet that looks much like Earth. There are trees, monsters, bodies of water, and the air is breathable. But there is no sunlight. Over many years of having no light, the creatures throughout the land have become very sad and angry. So on this planet, there has not been light for hundreds of years. The misfits learn that a curse has been put upon the land by the Nothing, an evil being that watches over the land. The Nothing has taken away the sun, and there are only 7 days to break the curse, or the land is bound to darkness for eternity. The group of misfits must mine, gather resources, craft items, and explore and fight to survive. But over time, the misfits learn that with the right resources, they can create magical beacons that bring light into the world. When monsters see this light, they turn and join your side. If the misfits can turn enough monsters before the 7 days expire, they'll have an army strong enough to defeat the Nothing and break the curse. So let me just simplify that plot. 2 to 4. The game is 2 to 4 players, and this is all in development. So somehow they arrive on this planet. I was thinking maybe like the whole thing's like a dream, like some child's imagination. Like maybe there's like a sleepover on our world, and the little kids sleeping over, dream about this adventure, or in the fantasy world, the spaceship does crash on this planet. So there's no sun on this planet, and the curse is, has, only 7 days to break the curse.
I like the crash idea.
It's the crash idea? That's the crash idea. We'll go with that then. And the 7 days is a game mechanic. So within the game, time is accounted for. All your actions in the game take time. And there's a 24-day cycle within the game. So you only have so much time to beat the game. If you don't do what you're supposed to do in 7 days, then you lose the game. So, okay. The game is, this is all in the wiki. I'll probably explain this. I mean, literally, it took me 4 hours to write this wiki on how to play the game. So I don't want to go into too much detail about the mechanics of the game. But basically, the real, just the first level of the mechanics. So it's a 2 to 4 player game. It's a co-op game. You're working together to accomplish the goal. And I would say a good half of the game is spent time gathering resources. Each turn you can mine. Each turn you can explore. You can choose to, fight a dungeon. See if I can find a list of the other. You can craft. That takes a turn. So let me show you some of the sample.
And go to the shelter.
And go to the shelter. Let me show you some of the game mechanics maps here. This would be what on the right. That's kind of what the game would look like. That's a different game, but there would be a board kind of like that, and it would have space for tiles. And this is what the tiles would look like. It's called a tile laying game. And see on the tile how it has water, trees, rocks, some sand. And this is an example of a character sheet. Sorry, hang on. So, in the wiki you can see some sample artwork. And you'll see that each character has a health meter, which is 10 hearts. The hamburgers represent food. They have 10 food. They have special abilities, starting items, and on the right is your inventory. Hey, Brent, you think you can be quiet while I'm talking so I can just get this done? Just for 5 minutes, please. Oh, for crying out loud. Okay. It's a tile laying game, and every time you explore, you lay a tile. And the idea is that each tile you put down offers different resources that you can gather. And you also get resources by gathering monsters. So let's say you want to make a sword, you have to mine some iron, and that's all done by rolling. You roll a lot of dice in this game. And then you get some iron, and then you get some wood from the trees, and then you can take a turn and craft and make a pickaxe. It's very much like Minecraft. If you played Minecraft, the idea of gathering resources, putting in a crafting table, and making items and using those items, that's like the meat of half the game.
It's like a car.
People can't see you if you want them to see you.
It's a car. It's like half of a car game and a half of a dice game and a half of a tile game.
That's right. Yeah. And when you mine, you get trees, wood, coal, stuff like this. That's all managed on a card that you play. So when you're playing, in front of you is a card, and you can manage all your resources. So let's say after 20 minutes of playing, let's just say you might have 10 pieces of wood, 3 iron, 1 diamond, 4 energy ore, 2 pieces of sand, and some string, whatever that is, right? So, okay. The other half of the game is battling monsters. Every turn you start, you roll to see if you get attacked by a monster. If you get attacked, you fight the monster. And there are dungeons on certain tiles that you put down. You can choose to fight a dungeon, and every dungeon has at least one monster. So let me take a second and show you what some monster cards look like. And keep in mind, like all the artwork I'm showing you is all called temp. It's just temp artwork. Here are some item cards.
I like the cards.
Yeah, the cards are cool, huh?
I like the gun cards.
So there's some temp cards, and this is all, like I said, the artwork's going to be done by somebody else. Here's a picture of what the game would look like when you're playing it. Okay, so here are some monster cards. So you'll see, like, this is the zombie soldier. It has the hit points, attack, defense, special abilities, weaknesses, and what it drops. Monster. So when you kill this zombie soldier, you roll dice to get the amount of coal, stone, and food. And here's a girly beholder, a freaky slime. Okay, I gotta show you all these. A crawler, blah, 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 blah. So there's a whole bunch of monsters in the game.
And I wanted to tell you, thanks for letting me be in some of your videos.
Oh, well, you're very welcome. Huh. So, when you go into battle, you basically, and this is where the Dungeons and Dragons feel comes in. It works just like Dungeons and Dragons. So each monster has an attack, a defense, and hit points. And you'll roll your roll and see if you hit it. And the other player you're playing with, like if me and Gage are playing, I'm playing my guy. While it's not his turn, he can roll for the monsters. So someone's always playing, usually.
And there's a really funny guy, and there's going to be a really funny character, like a little angry guy character I picked out from the game.
Yeah, the little green alien.
Yeah, I really want to play him.
So, so when you fight a monster, you get drops. Okay, so I showed you the item cards earlier. The item cards, you can get, like when you craft something, let's say you craft an iron pickaxe, you get the card, the actual pickaxe item card. So if you craft, you put your resources back in the resource pool, and then you get your card for your iron pickaxe. Throughout the game, like after a while, you'll fight monsters, you'll craft various items, but you can only hold so many in your hand. Your hand is basically like your backpack. Honey, can I? Okay, just hanging out. So, the fighting the monsters is the other half of the game. Now, here's where one of the key mechanics comes into play.
Yeah.
Whenever you beat a monster, okay, there's a deck of cards for the monsters. Let's say how many cards depends on how many players there are.
1.
Okay, can you just don't talk? Oh, this video sucks. This is great. This video is like the worst video ever. But I have to do it as a record for the game. So I'm sorry. I'm just tired, and I'm just tired and grouchy. But every time you beat a monster, you have a chance of turning the monster. Turning it means it goes from sad to happy. The whole goal of the game is to turn monsters. So every time you defeat a monster, you roll to see if you get a certain number, then the monster is turned. If you fail, the monster card goes back into the deck. If you win, the monster card comes. See, like as a parent, this is why parenting is so frustrating sometimes. I've asked her to stop talking. This is my third time making the video. I've asked her to stop talking about 20 times in the past 20 minutes. And she's still talking. Like, this is why... Like, think about it if you had, like, a friend who was, like, your age, right? If my brother was over and I was making a video, and you're like, hey, Sean, could you just be quiet for a few minutes while I do this? He would be like, oh, yeah, cool, that's fine. But with kids, they don't give a fuck. They just do whatever they want to do. You know what I mean? Hey, you're in the other room now. You're in timeout. Bye. You know why? They've been at their mom's house all week, and they don't get any sleep there because she doesn't give a shit. She just lets them stay up till whenever they want, and then drops them over like 7 o'clock in the morning. So they're grouchy all day, which is great. So back to the board game. The worst video ever. So that's the whole point of the game, is turning monsters. Okay, how you win the game, if that monster deck that you started with, if you can manage to get all of those monster cards out of the deck before the 7 days is over, you've won the game. And there's also a clock mechanic. I don't have the clock in front of me, but every time you play your turn, you get 3 moves per turn. So it's my turn. I get to do 3 things. I get to like craft, mine, and then gather wood. Or I can mine twice, whatever it is. I do 3 actions. Once I'm done, the clock, there's like an actual physical little cardboard clock you hold. Once it turns over, the clock moves 2 hours. Once Gage goes, his turn's over, it moves 2 more hours. Once it goes 24 hours, a day has gone by in the world of the game. So you have to clear out the monster deck before the 7 days is up. Now keep in mind, I haven't play tested this yet. I'll be doing that probably next week. And for like months. And having my friends play test this, strangers play test this. So I still have to figure out if 7 days is enough time. I don't think it's. I think 7 days is not enough time. But obviously that will all be figured out, right? Now here's one final key component to the game that I have to explain. Every monster card has a related essence to it. Like, let's say if you're fighting an Ent, which is a tree creature, it has spirit essence, like nature, spirit essence, right? If you're fighting a Beholder, which casts spells, that has a magic essence to it. If you're fighting, whatever, a lava monster has a fire essence, right? An element to it, okay? Whenever you defeat a monster, you can capture that monster's essence if you have a magic jar in your inventory. Okay, you have to craft magic jars, which aren't that easy to craft. Okay, you have to mine, get like magic ore, get glass, and do this whole thing, and make the jar. Or you can find jars as rewards for killing some monsters, right? Once you've crafted a magic jar and you kill a monster, you can capture that monster's essence. Okay, if you have all 4 of the world's essence, which is spirit, energy, magic,
There is also magic.
and light, I think it is. I think light's the 4th one.
And there's all different kinds of crystals in this game.
That's right, there's crystals in the game. Once you have these 4 essence, you can craft what's called the beacon. You can craft a beacon. And a beacon will be like a physical thing that you hold. Like the players who are playing the game will have the beacon. You can put the beacon on a tile, like one of these tiles. You put the beacon on a tile, like that, and any monsters that attack that beacon. So let's say you're on that tile, and you're hanging out gathering wood. If you get attacked, there's not even a fight. That monster is automatically turned. So think about because the whole world's dark, right? So if you put one of these beacons, it's like the whole entire area would be lit up. And monsters, the idea is monsters are so happy to see light that they don't fight you. they realize that you're the reason there's light, then they join you. So the more beacons you create throughout the land, the faster you start turning the monsters. That's the idea. Okay? So the idea is, the first half of the game, you kind of want to craft. And also fight some monsters. As you get stronger and start crafting better weapons, there's guns in the game. There's guns, swords, magic items, wands, rings, armor. Once you start crafting things and finding better items, you get stronger. And then you can start killing a lot more monsters. You can help them turn. Then you can get more essence faster, put down more beacons, and then you grow. And hopefully, if you beat the monster deck before the 7 days, you've won the game. So that's the core concept of the game. I'm sure I've left tons of stuff out, little mechanics. Like I didn't explain the shelter. There's shelters. You start the game with a shelter. On your first tile, there's a shelter. In the shelter, the shelter allows you to craft to make certain items, like crafting benches, furnaces to process ore, beds. You can make beds, and you can sleep in a bed to get your health back, stuff like that. I didn't explain a lot of the combat mechanics. The combat is actually quite simple. Each character is going to have, each player, their character will have an armor class and hit points and an attack, like a damage, right? You just roll and compare rolls with the monsters you're fighting. There's no spells. There's, Dungeons & Dragons has an incredible amount of spells. Monsters don't usually cast spells. The combat is very simple. The idea of the game is there are a lot of elements to it, but they're all simple. They're not complex. Yes, Gage?
You said that there was going to be a witch.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Okay. Anyhow, this video is already 10 minutes too long. But I encourage you guys, if you want to check out, I have lots of concept art I put together. I made lots of monster cards. Right now I'm in the process of putting a prototype together. So I've spent tons of time. The whole thing is I really want to play the game. I can play the game on pieces of paper and dice, but I'm trying to put together a version of the game that I can really enjoy playing. So I've ordered some game pieces. I've made some fictional artwork. I've stolen artwork off the net, and I'm going to print up a bunch of cards that I can use during play and get a prototype of the game so I can play the game with my friends and see how it plays. So, I've spent many, which is one of the reasons why I was tired and grumpy. I spent a lot of time, working on the game, like designing cards, layouts, graphics, coming up with a story, the game mechanics. Besides all of that work, I spent a lot of time pricing out pieces, trying to refine the game. If I include how many dice do I include in the board? How much will it cost if I cut down on dice or add more dice? How many cards do I need in the game? How many cards, for the players? How many different types of armor do I need? How many of each armor card do I need? How many monsters? Let's say I want to have 15 monsters in the game, or 10. That's a difference in price because I have to make more cards. And if I make more cards, the game's more expensive. And then I'm trying to figure out how much each game will cost. So I've spent hours and hours and hours going through this stuff, and I'm not even anywhere close being done. And I have a lot of this logged on the game's wiki. It's killerreviews.com/curse, CURSE. I'll put a link in the subject line. If you go to that link, you can read a very detailed description of the game, how the game plays, the breakdown, see lots of images I put together, concept art of different characters I put together. it's everything I've put together for the game up to this point. And that page is going to constantly change. And I'm going to make diary videos about my progress, what changes I've made to the game. Sorry. That was a big yawn. I don't need that right now. So, yeah, I guess that's it. The whole goal of this video was to explain how the game works, so it can be a reference for copyright issues. The link is killerreviews.com/curse if you want to read about the game more. I think you should go there and check out the artwork. There's some really cool artwork. That's not going to be in the final game. But, anyhow. Alright, that's it for now. I'm going to catch up. I'll be recording little diaries. This game is definitely happening. I'm hoping to put it on Kickstarter. I'll tell you what, like, I don't know, like, if I hit it out of the ballpark on the first try, but I'm finding this quite easy to understand the process of how to put a game together. I mean, like, who knows? It could play like crap, but I have a feeling it's not going to. But, like, in my head, putting together the steps to get it on Kickstarter, what I need to do, how to make the game reasonably priced but still be awesome to play, where to cut corners and stuff, how many rules, when the game gets too complex. I don't know. I'm feeling I have a knack for it without sounding like like a douchebag. But I'm hoping that this works out and maybe this could be my thing. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to cut this before I keep talking. I could talk all day about this. Thanks for watching. Sorry, I'm a little salty and the video was interrupted like 10 times. But leave your thoughts below. I would love feedback on the game, what you think. I know some people don't want to hear negative stuff, but I would love negative stuff. If you read the wiki, and you think it sucks or if something doesn't work right or I'm missing a big hole in the game, I'd love to know that. So thanks for watching and have an awesome day. Bye.